today's edition of Race Tips, we're going to talk about methods to slow boats down on reach leg. Specifically, we're going to talk about fishing, max slow, and boom pulling. Most team races are run on a digital end course, shown here, or something similar. The methods we're going to talk about today are of particular interest between Mark 1 and Mark 2, and between Mark 3 and Mark 4. Fishing is a term we use to describe hooking a boat to leeward and then forcing them head to wind to slow them down. This is a simple windward-leeward situation where the windward boat, boat number 2, must keep clear of the leeward boat. Once the hook is made, the windward boat must keep clear of the leeward boat, meaning that the leeward boat can sail as high into the wind, causing both boats to go very slow as he or she pleases. The leeward boat needs to be careful not to enter the 2-boat length circle of mark number 4, in which case the windward boat would be entitled to room. Max slow is a maneuver that we use if the trailing boat decides to sail to leeward of the lead boat. The first step, the same as the last maneuver, is for the lead boat to slow down and force the trailing boat to leeward of her. Once the trailing boat establishes an overlap to leeward of the lead boat must over-trim their main to create a wind shadow and luff their jib to slow their boat down. If done properly, both boats will be sailing very slowly at this point. While executing this maneuver, it is of utmost importance for the crew to be paying attention and easing and trimming the jib as needed to maintain position with respect to the leeward boat. Here watch as the crew of boat 4 does a perfect job easing their sail and letting the jib luff in order to slow down, and then trimming it back in to speed up and stay covering the leeward boat. In this situation, we must remember that the windward boat is also keep clear. However, the leeward boat is required not to sail above her proper course since she established the overlap from clear astern. A really common mistake when executing this maneuver, and one that we show here that was not done on purpose, is when the windward covering boat luffs their jib a little bit too much and allows the leeward boat to get their jib into clean wind. When this happens, the leeward boat can actually sail to a point of being bow even, in which case the windward boat loses control of the situation. This is obviously a really frustrating thing to have happen, so let's take a closer look and see how we can avoid it. Checking out the instant replay in slow motion, we can see a small wind bubble appearing on the front section of the mainsail on boat number 2. This means that the jib on boat number 2 is slightly ahead of the wind shadow of boat number 4. At this point, boat number 4 eases their jib, which basically gives a little bit more power to the jib of boat number 2 and a little bit more power to the front part of the main of boat 2. Since Julian here is so fast, he's able to use that power and punch out a little bit to a bow even position. Now that momentum's on his side, he's even pulling out to a bow out position and may eventually pass me on the next beat. Our final maneuver, called boom pulling, is really an extension of max slow. You initialize the maneuver the same way as before, slowing down and hooking the trailing boat to leeward. Once the trailing boat establishes an overlap to leeward, the windward boat backwinds their main but trims their jib perfectly to maintain some forward speed. The main difference here between max slow is the crew is now focused on jib trim, and the skipper is focused on backwinding or centerlining the main as needed to maintain position. Although these maneuvers may look the same, the roles of the skipper and the crew have reversed. Again, notice how the crew here is focusing entirely on the jib. Meanwhile, the skipper has to trim the sail directly off of the boom. This is a skill that takes quite a bit of practice, but once you get it down, it's really not that hard. In order for the skipper to trim the mainsail off of the boom, the crew must be able to flatten the boat as needed. Watch the slow motion replay here. As the skipper in boat 4 backwinds the boom, the boat starts to heel over. The crew must immediately counteract this moment and put some weight out to keep the boat entirely flat. Because the skipper has to trim off the boom, they won't be able to hike as they normally do. The crew plays a major role in making this maneuver a success. As before, the windward boat must keep clear of the leeward boat, but the leeward boat may not go above her proper course. Also, once they reach the 2-boat length circle, the outside boat, boat 2, must give the inside boat room. Now let's apply these maneuvers to the context of a passback. First, we'll take a look at fishing, where boats number 4 and number 8 are on the same team. Fishing is a really effective and quick way to make a passback happen. The only problem is, experienced team racers know this and will avoid getting hooked to windward as much as possible. Here, boat number 4 successfully hooks boat number 2 and proceeds to head them up high into the wind, slowing both boats down. Meanwhile, teammate, boat 8, can sail leeward and fast and round ahead of both boats. Notice how boat 4 peels away and breaks the overlap so that they can have a nice clean rounding clear ahead of boat 2. The next logical question is, what if the boat in second position were to sail to leeward of the boat that was trying to fish? In this case, we would execute a max slow. Here the boat in first, boat number 4, slows down and tries to hook the boat in second position to either windward or leeward. The boat in second chooses to go to leeward, and boat number 4 proceeds to do max slow. The problem is, the boat in third place, his teammate, in boat number 8, has also got hooked below the boat in second. This is a hopeless situation, and the passback will not be able to be executed. In order for a max slow or boom pulling passback to be successful, the boat in third place must be patient and wait until the second place boat is hooked to leeward of the lead boat. Now let's watch a successful passback using a boom pull maneuver. Here the boat in 1 immediately starts doing an aggressive boom pull. Here the boat in second gets hooked to leeward, and the boat in first communicates to the boat in third that they can sail to windward. Meanwhile, boat number 4 continues to boom pull on boat number 2, slowing them down substantially. This allows the boat number 8 to sail quickly to weather, rounding the mark clear ahead of both boats. The take-home message from this edition of Race Tips is that while you're executing a pass back on a reach, it doesn't matter if the boat you're trying to pass back goes to weather or to leeward.